Hey guys, this is Sugar Brown and this is my breakdown for Hold Me. Alright, for me, my favorite part about this song is the chords. I'm a big fan of the chords. I'm a melody guy. That's like the first thing I look into a song is the melody, the chord progression, all that stuff. So let's dive into the chords. So what I got is these chords I found on Splice. I fucking love these chords, man. It's just a very, let me see if I can play the original one. Okay, let me see. So with these ones, I didn't tune them down. Usually, like when I get chords from Splice or any kind of loop, I try to like detune it or like try to modify it, because like sometimes you have that debate of throwing samples into a song. There's a crazy debate that's gone for years and years of sampling and shit, and some people hate it. For me, I'm like, as long as the track sounds good and it fits right, then who am I to judge that the sample's there? So I don't know. For me, it fit right. It was perfect for this track, and I love this loop. It's simple. It just so it's a beautiful chord progression. I love it. It's just very simple. It's for me like how I make it to be like a Sugar Brown sound. I like to use like an auto filter and just kind of bring in the highs, bring in the lows, slowly kind of manipulate the movement of the chords. So a good way I can show you is when it comes to the drop. I actually use the same chords for the same loop, but I break it down to different layers. So like for me, I like to have one that's completely dry, and then a couple of like high ones, chorus effect and shit like that. So for me here, it's the best way I could show it. So when it comes to the drop, sure, yeah. There you go. So that's with all the layers right there. So you got the high, that's this. And you got this one, a higher one. So just give it like the little bit of the crispness of the high frequencies. And then you can see like there's this layer that's like in the middle, just to kind of give it like little differences. Like for me, I like to do that when it comes to the drop, to just kind of give it variation of like the sound. So like if you listen to it in whole without everything being solo, so like just that feel of that just kind of gave it another texture. I don't know, for me, I like doing that kind of stuff just to make it, it doesn't sound like repetitive, even though it is getting played repetitively. So that's a good trick to use. All right, I'm gonna show you guys the bass. It's pretty simple bass, nothing too crazy. So this is the top bass for the verse. Very simple, hip hop sub. Some of the lows looks like let me see. Oh, well, towards the end, I just kind of like take out the lows, and that's a good trick too to end your tracks out like softly. Is like you cut out the lows gently and stuff, just to kind of give it a smooth finish. All right, then let's move on to the drop bass. So just add a little crunchness. It has the whole sub to it, but for me, I like using the bit warmer, the saturator. Just for me, it just gives it enough crunch to the bass that it's not fully distorted. And then on the corpus, I use kick tie. Kick tie is really good on your bass. Someone showed me a while back this preset, and it just makes your sub just feel full. And then lastly, I just come with limiter just to kind of keep everything tight and stuff. All right, let me break down the drums. Drums is like the funnest thing about this track. It gives it the movement. It's not like always 4 on the floor. There's just kind of like, it's almost like kind of like a swing kind of vibe, and that was my my purpose for this track, is to just give it a little bit of movement. For me, to define a Sugar Brown track, it's got movement. It wants to, like, I always think of my music as like a wave. It just kind of, you know, I don't know. It just, for me, the feeling of riding a wave, it just the smoothness and just kind of like, you know, rhythmic of the patterns, because you know you can go to different portions of the beach and they will be different, you know, some waves will be faster, some are slower. So it's like, for me, I love the ocean, so I always want to make my music to feel like you're in the ocean, basically. Alright, let's start from the verse and then we'll work ourselves to the drop. So if you look in verse 1, basically it's pretty simple, but drums. So just kind of give it rhythm, you know, just kind of get the excitement of the drop. I always love when, you know, for me, I like to add like little like snippets of like little perks to just kind of give a little like some type of ear candy. So with the hi-hats, take a listen. So give it that clap, you know, kind of like the, you know, rave, you know, kind of like build up, my crashes. It's a good way to kind of transition and make the drop a little bit more exciting, because like, for instance, if we take these out, see, sounds plain, but then we add a crash. Sounds way better. Cool. These are like the drums. See, that's like my favorite part right there. It's like that whole rhythmic. That's like, you see these little perks. So if you just play that alone, it sounds so fucking weird. But like when you add everything together, it feels like some, you know, type of like, you know, rhythmic. You know, I don't know. It just sounds you know, interesting when it comes to like the drum patterns and stuff. So let's move on to the drop drums. These are for me, it's what made the track, obviously, because you know, drums are really important when it comes to electronic music. So for me, I love 4 on the floor, but it can get boring sometimes. So for me, I wanted to like have that a little bit of mixture of both, 4 on the floor, but also have like some rhythmic, you know, just kind of like some Caribbean vibe, if that makes sense. So here's my kick. So what's so great about this kick, it's very punchy, it's very, you know, there's not so much, like you could see I took out some like 1K around there, just to kind of give it like room for the vocals, room for other stuff, and then compressor, and just kind of like give it room for the mix. And then you go to the claps, pretty basic. But I like that muffled clap. It almost sounds like kind of like vinyl-ish claps. We move on to the hi-hats. Little shakers. So yeah, pretty simple, but like the drum pattern kind of gives it that movement. And then the perks, that's what makes the whole track itself. So you can even hear that even the perks have a little bit of kick, but they're not overpowering because I put a compressor on it. So every time the kick comes in, it kind of like ducks it down, so the kick can come out better. And so that's a good trick. If, for instance, if like you're having trouble mixing your kick in with your percussions, you can do that to make your kick sound a little bit, you know, out front. It's a really good trick. So then if we put everything together, it sounds like this. that's what's so cool about it. Like the kicks are actually 4 on the floor, but since they have the secondary kicks on the perks, it gives it, you know, a little rhythmic pattern. So like, let's say if I take this out, let's take a listen. Yeah, it sounds all right, but then when you add it to it, it sounds like this. So much better, so much better. So by far, the thing that makes the track itself is the vocals, of course. The lyrics of Hold Me, you know, from the vocal chops, from the vocal effects, to even the vocal drop kind of shaky thing. It's sick. I always get hit up a lot about it, like, how did you fucking make that whole vocal effect? And I'm about to show you. Okay, so this is how I did it. So basically, I grabbed this vocal. Let me see, I can show you the dry version of it. Let's see. Look at all these effects. It's crazy. I did so much on this thing. So this is how it sounds when it's completely dry. So crazy, right? And so when you add everything to it, it sounds like this. And it's for me, it makes the drop even way more exciting for that effect. You know, it's got, you know, amp, it's got like the EQ. So with this, I actually added 2 layers. There's 2 different like effects. So one is like has more, you know, reverb than the other one, because I wanted to kind of keep it dry. I like to have one dry and one wet. That's just how I work, you know, when it comes to mixing stage. It's, for me, it's that's how I, you know, that's how I mix. This is how I made the vocal chop. Okay, so let me go through all the stuff I did with the processing. So I like to use amp. Amp is a cool effect. I love the whole distortion. I love running, you know, vocals through amps, not just guitars. Even drums is kind of cool to kind of give it like a little like crispness of the overall sample. And so run it through amp, and then kind of give it the, you know, cut the lows, because sometimes the amp could be a little harsh on the lows, and, you know, dip down a little bit of the highs. And then I add this like flanger effect. It's kind of, it's cool. It just adds a little twangness to it. And then of course OTT with some Valhalla with oh, so this is what makes the best of it, of like the whole movement. So like, you know, when it goes like da -na -na, da -na -na -na. So basically what I do, I automate the volume of it. But if you notice, I don't go completely down, because then if you go completely down, it just, for me, it sounds too choppy. So for it to, you know, give it still like that rhythmic movement, I don't go all the way down, and just kind of make these like shark fin like automation and stuff. It's cool. It actually, I do this a lot with all my samples. Sometimes I'll cut them up and then individually do them with the sample itself. But for me, this worked way better on this circumstance. So, I mean, there's different cases on different songs that you might, you know, work. It's just what works best for the track, and that's the most important. So, and then you go to frequency shaper. That kind of gives it like moments like this, like kind of different, you know, it just doesn't sound consistent. Like if you have it off, it would sound redundant and stuff. For me, I like to add those little like pitch bends and stuff, just to kind of give it a little ear candy, if I may say. So like even that, like it's just, for me, it's a cool effect. And then of course the auto filter, cut some lows, the washout, just to kind of give it space. I think I do at the end, so it's a better transition when it comes to to the next section. So like, I'll play it to you. So it just runs smoothly when it goes to the next section. All right, so this is how I process my lead vocals. I found the lead vocal, I think I found it through Output, the arcades. It's such a good plugin. It's a membership, you pay a certain amount, and they have these like samples that you can do. For me, I'm a big sample hog. Any cool sample, I try to download and stuff through Splice or even through Output. So I found this vocal, and it's so good. It's just like, it's so crispness, and we'll take a listen. You gotta hold it down. So you hear that, just like soulness of it. It just sounds so thick, and for me, it just, you know, it makes the track itself. And then what I do is I just pitched up for the second version of it. I just pitched it up an octave, but also keep it at distance. So as you can see, like what I said before, I keep it wet and dry. You know, some people will put it in one track, but for me, it just works best that way. And then this is how I usually process my vocals. You got the reverb, the Vox flanger. It's kind of cool. It gives it like that movement to the vocals. And then you got the pitch bend, cutting out the lows, reverb. It's kind of funny actually now thinking about it, looking at it, like I'm trying to see what I did. So I had reverb with that, but also had reverb in the effects rack. So that's kind of interesting. Maybe I just wanted a little bit more reverb, but then I cut it off right here. So I don't know. Sometimes like it's funny, you do crazy shit like that, but it works. It works at the end. So there's no rule to music. That's what's so great about it, is there's no written book for it. There's no laws between what you can write and what you can. That's what's so great about it. It's freedom to do whatever the fuck you want, and what works for you might not work for others. So alright guys, so that's my whole production section. I know I went through the vocals, drums, bass, synths. I didn't go through the effects, but the effects are pretty easy. There's nothing too crazy. It's just basically some builds up, some sweeps and stuff like that. I'm actually going to give away this session, so you can even check it out yourself, play around with it too. So I actually left out one thing. The one that I released on Spotify, it's actually 2 semitones higher. I did this because I previously released this song under a different name, and it was kind of hard when I was trying to re-release it through DistroKid. They were like, you can't re-release it. It was a hassle for me. I was like, fuck man, I really need to release this track. So what I did, I just bumped it up 2 semitones. It was so funny because I was playing it live, and I was wanting to see like how would it sound if I pitched it higher, and for me it sounded better than it was the original. So for me, it's just it's fun to do. You should do that. You should definitely try to bounce your track and then bring it back in the session and then bump it up 2 semitones, or just mess around with the whole pitch of the track. I know Timbaland does that, and it sounds so dope. It's so cool. It's a cool trick. So hopefully I helped you guys out when it comes to production. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think of the track itself. I just love doing this. I love educating people, just like showing my work and stuff. And for me, it's fun. It's all fun to collab with other people and just help each other out, because we're a family. Honestly, guys, I've been there when it's struggling to make music, and I've always wanted people to help me out as well, and just kind of give it back to the community. So thanks guys. Homie's out. It's on Spotify, it's on SoundCloud, it's on everywhere, so go stream it, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks guys.